So let's go ahead and dive into the slideshow with collection section here. So you've got a few options. First off, up here at the top, you can decide what position you'd like your slideshow to be in. So the default position for pretty much all of our theme presets is the beside position. However, you do have the ability to set this to above. And what that's going to do, it's going to put the slideshow at the very top, and it's going to shove all of the collections and the promotional information right down below. If you do that, you've got a couple of options in terms of how big or how tall that slideshow is. So by toggling these options here, you can actually drop that down to a medium size, and you can actually go pretty small. So this just lets you kind of take control. You know, if you want the more standard look where your slide shows up at the top and you have your collections down below, that is just fine. You can do that. But the way we're going to build it out is in the beside position, since that's what matches the Nashville preset. So then as you scroll down here, you're going to see a few other things. You're going to see this collections show tags option. This will just toggle various tags that are present in any of the collections. We'll show you what that looks like in just a little bit. Then there's this section down here, which gives you the ability to either utilize this slideshow on your mobile devices or to set a special hero image that then gets used on mobile devices. We might cover that in a later video. We're not going to touch on that just yet, but just know that by default, on a mobile device, which we consider tablet and below, your normal slideshow will show up, but you do have the option to display a special hero mobile override if you'd like, which is what all of this content right here relates to. So we're going to slide down the page here and down into the content section. So these content sections, these are actually blocks. So these are blocks that are part of an overall section. So this top one right here relates to this slideshow image. So we're going to jump in here and we're going to go ahead and upload an image for this. So pretty standard image upload. We have some image recommendations. This is just a portrait image that we recommend. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a file. And I've got a little set of images all set up here for this. So we're going to use this banner image. That's going to refresh, and now we have that. We're also going to give this a little bit of an overlay color. And what that's going to do is it's just going to let the text pop a little bit more. So I'm going to set that down to black. And under overlay opacity, I'm going to give that 10%. When it's set to hide, it won't be visible, but let's see, so you can see that's a little bit darker. It's a little bit darker. You can get pretty wacky with this. You can actually make it all kinds of colors if you wanted to. We wouldn't necessarily recommend that because, again, that doesn't look so good. But that should give you a good idea of what that section is going to do. So for me, I'm going to set it down back to black. So that pops out of there. And then into these sections, you know, this just lets you replace text content. So we're going to change this. We'll change that to Loft theme for Shopify, and you'll see that goes in there and updates that. And we're going to leave this subheading the same, but I'm going to go ahead and highlight this. I'm going to go ahead and make that bold just to show you that you do have a little bit of text control over what's bold and italic. I'm going to leave the button off for this purpose, but if you wanted to, you could type in a button name. And that's going to be invisible until you go ahead and click on this slide link. So when you click on the slide link, what you're doing is you're applying a URL to that slide. And now you see we've got our button there. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off though, because that's not present in the Nashville preset. Down here, now that we've edited our slide, I'm going to go ahead and close that for now. I'm going to go ahead and hit save as well. Now what I'm going to do is start applying actual collections to these collection blocks. One quick note on this though, if you don't want 5 collections on here, and let's say you want 3 or 4, you can actually go in here and delete sections or delete blocks, and Loft is going to try and make some guesses about the best way to organize that content when there are a certain number of collection and promotion blocks. So you can kind of play around with that. You can also reorder things, which lets you bump things around to different areas. I'm going to go ahead and add the collections back in now. And so you'll see we've reached our limit. We can have 5 collections and 1 promotion total. So we've got that in here now. So I'm going to go ahead and just start applying some of these collections to it. I think we'll go with decorative objects. And once we apply that, you'll see now there's an image here. There's an image in the title of the collection that shows up. This is a little bit different than the demo store in that there's no text down here. But there are two things, the text other than the title. So the text that's down here and the image that's up here, these are all pulled automatically from the collection information in Shopify. So what do I mean by that? Well, if I pop back over here to the Shopify admin, I go to products, and then I go into collections, I can find decorative objects as a collection that I assigned, and you'll see I've got an image here, right? I don't have any text in here, which is why that text is blank, but I have a tool that lets me really quickly create some placeholder text. So I'm just going to use that. I'm going to paste some text in here. This is just gibberish placeholder text. Now if I go ahead and save that, and I come back here and I hit save, it's going to refresh the page, and then suddenly you're going to see text in this zone where there wasn't text before. All right, so now there's text. So the big thing to note is that these sections will pull automatically from your collection information. The one exception is, let's say you have a really long collection description, or the collection description that shows up on the actual collection page, you want to be different than what shows up on the home page. Well, we do give you that option. We have a rich text field down here inside of that existing block. And we can go ahead and type whatever we want in here. So I will say, this is an example of putting in text. You'll see this is going to go ahead and update. And now my text is there, right? So you can get a little bit more creative if you wanted something special in this zone. The other thing to kind of note, because the images are tied directly to the overall collection image, we tried to give you some positioning options when it comes to the images. So we can toggle things left and right to shift the focus, and that isn't always going to apply depending on how big the image is that you've uploaded. This image that I've got in here for the collection is actually sized pretty well, so there's not much of an adjustment that happens at this point. But if you do ever find yourself that you've got a really strange image situation here because it's pulling from the collection page, you can always kind of modify the focus of that image by using these toggles right here. So if we go down, same thing, we've given some mobile options. You'll see on your mobile device, let's just pop over into that real quick. We'll switch over to the small screen so you can see, pulling that. So in mobile view, this is where things might get a little bit tricky, right? So we can say, try and bump that over. So if you see, I'm sort of positioning the image just to try and get it just right. You can kind of go crazy with this. Again, these will not always apply to every image depending on the image itself, but we've included them to try and give you a little bit more flexibility at different device sizes. So I'm going to go ahead and switch this back to fit to screen. And then I'm going to go through here. I'm just going to drop in a few other collections. See what pops up here. Sure. I'm really picky about the images here, and these aren't always the greatest images that pop up here. They look all right though. I think lighting is a good one. And go ahead and do, let's see, living room. All right, perfect. Now we've got all the collections filled out. Let's talk about the promotion. The promotion is this block right here. It's really straightforward. You pop into the promotion area, you're going to see you have text that you can apply to it, and we also let you apply a different background color. So you can get real crazy with this, and suddenly it's red. That's a little ghastly though. It may work in some designs, but it doesn't work in this one. But you can get creative with that. Again, you do have rich text options here. So you can go ahead and bold certain things, or unbold them, or make them italic.